So before we get into the video, I just want to say a massive thank you for 200 subscribers. It has been a pretty mental, burst in growth recently at least. And yeah, I mean, it just really means a lot to me, and thank you guys a lot for that. I'll go more into detail about the growth of my channel and the channel anniversary, seeing that it's only a month away, but yeah, let's just get on with the video, and thank you guys a lot. Hey guys, Ozai here today, back from a YouTube video. Today we have Endeavour from My Hero Academia versus Firelord Ozai from Avatar The Last Airbender. If you enjoy this video, dislike and subscribe. This video will get a little bit confusing at points, but bear with me. There's not really a fully objective way to answer who would win, and if you've been around in my channel for long enough, you'll probably understand why, but I'll do my best to explain, the different ways you can highball, lowball, scale, and things like that, these two characters. So, yeah. Let's just get right into the video. For strength and attack potency, Endeavour's fire bare minimum scales to Todoroki's fire, or Shoto Todoroki's fire, which was able to melt a large sculpture of ice, or only sculpture, but large ice attack. And it scales to around 10.2 kilotons of TNT, or being around town level. This isn't too far-fetched considering the fact that the ice attack itself can be scaled to small city level. That being said, the main confusion for Endeavour's power comes to if you could scale him to All Might whatsoever. I would recommend checking out the Has Endeavour Ever Surpassed All Might video I made a while back, but I'll briefly summarise what the discrepancies are here. Essentially, there's a lot of evidence pointing towards Endeavour surpassing All Might, doing things from being able to damage Tomura Shigaraki when he was stated to be as sturdy as All Might, being able to knock over Gigantomachia in a punch, who's, stated the most powerful Nomu, and one of the much weaker Nomu is able to contend with All Might at full power, albeit still not able to beat him. And, Endeavour has been able to fight beings such as Hood, who surpasses the USJ Nomu, things like that. However, for each feat or big statement that implies that Endeavour could have surpassed All Might, there's always this fine grey area which can be explained away. For example, the Gigantomachia feat, Gigantomachia was completely tied up, for example, and all Endeavour did really just knock him over. It didn't really, defeat him. And then there's the whole Shigaraki thing. Shigaraki has never really shown any resistance to fire type attacks. This is shown when, he was heavily damaged by one of Todoroki's attacks, Shoto Todoroki, not NJ Todoroki. But does this mean then that Shoto Todoroki is now at All Might's level 2? I think that's a little bit far-fetched to say. But that being said, if you scale Endeavour to All Might, bare minimum scales to 100% joint training arc Deku, who is able to dispense a large storm. And this has different calcs in and of itself. Calcs that put it from around mountain level to large country level, so there's a pretty big gap there. For Ozai, meanwhile, he was able to create so much fire, a large ball of fire, that would be equal to over 300 tons of TNT, or being around multi-city block level. That being said, he also scales to obviously Azula and Zuko. Both of them individually surpass Water Tribe members, who were able to freeze the Fire Nation ship, which overall would equal 120 kilotons of TNT, or large town level, but that's assuming that, you take all of the Water Tribe's power combined. If you just, split up into individual members, it would be around small town level, so you could say that Ozai is at least around that level, but could possibly scale to large town level, depending on if you think that he is just as powerful as an entire tribe combined, which isn't too far-fetched, but then again, isn't exactly concrete either. That being said, I'll leave a kind of list up of where the two of them lie, depending on how you power scale them. If you go by the All Might scaling, then Endeavour would be more powerful than any sort of scaling for Ozai. If you, highball Ozai, he'd be more powerful than a not All Might scaled Endeavour. And, if you take the low ball for Ozai, obviously Endeavour would be more powerful. So it is, kind of back and forth, and it kind of depends on what scaling and feats you think are viable or not. So yeah, Endeavour would be more powerful if, you go with both of their highballed versions and both of their lowballed versions at that too. As for speed, and Endeavour scales to the, class 1A, characters who could dodge or at least react to Bakugo's explosions, which in the fight with All Might would be calced, like to be able to dodge it, it'd be calced out to around 0.008 times the speed of light, or around 5 million miles per hour. So Endeavour would at least scale to that also. For Ozai, meanwhile, he scales to people like Zuko and Azula who can move fast enough to redirect lightning, which travels at 270,000 miles per hour. Yeah, Ozai is faster than that, but to assume that he is so fast that he could catch up to Endeavour's level of speed isn't really, believable that much, considering the gap between 5 million and 270,000. So yeah, Endeavour is definitely faster here. As for Endeavour's durability, it's not as hard to figure that out compared to his attack potency, seeing that he was able to take point-blank attacks from a Shigaraki who was stated as strong as All Might. So, his durability, would scale between mountain level plus to large country level. It is still not quite concrete, but it is a little bit more clear than the attack potency point. Ozai, meanwhile, was able to take a beatdown from a fully pissed off Avatar Aang, or at least Avatar State Aang. And the Avatar State Aang, scales to other avatars that could split islands, cause many volcanoes to erupt, which would be around 43 gigatons of TNT or island level. And also the avatars have been stated capable of moving large landmasses, which could mean anything between islands to continents. So if you were to go with the consistency, then Ozai's durability would be around island level. But that being said, you could highball him to continental, if you really wanted to. So there is sort of the kind of situation that we're having with the attack potency point, almost in reverse, seeing that a highballed Ozai is way more durable than a highballed Endeavour, and even then, a lowballed Ozai would be more durable than a lowballed Endeavour. So if we're going to give the attack potency point to Endeavour, then I think it just makes sense to give the durability point here to Ozai. For abilities, weaponry, and techniques, Endeavour, of course, has his fire manipulation. He can fly using the fire also, and has also got resistance to fire. He's also an expert in hand-to-hand combat and is quite acrobatic. Ozai, of course, can also manipulate fire and can obviously firebend. He can also use his fire to fly and also create weapons out of it. He can also bend lightning, which therefore gives him minimal manipulation of it. Say lightning's coming towards him, he can redirect where it's going to go. And he's also, of course, an expert martial artist. So I would say that Ozai definitely has, better versatility and arguably better ability, seeing that all the things Endeavour can do, so can Ozai. As for weaknesses, an Endeavour doesn't really like to overdo his attacks, mainly because despite the fact that he has resistance to fire, it does affect his body temperature. So while he can resist a large amount of fire, he's not really willing to go that far, if that makes sense, because obviously it will make him weaker if his body temperature is way too high. As for Ozai, he can't really use his firebending during a solar eclipse. So if you were to go by whose weakness, affects them more overall, I'd probably say Ozai, since, during a solar eclipse, he just can't use his firebending. But that being said, that would be fair to put him up against Endeavour. So for the sake of a fight, I think Endeavour's weakness would definitely be more at play here. So who wins overall? We're going to be looking, if we're going to highball Endeavour, we're going to highball Ozai, and if we're going to lowball Ozai, we're going to lowball Endeavour, vice versa. It doesn't really matter if you use both lowballed or highballed versions. The confusion kind of comes from, if you use a highballed Endeavour or lowballed Ozai and things like that. So Endeavour is more powerful and faster, meanwhile Ozai is more durable, has better abilities, is more versatile, and is less vulnerable. So who wins the fight? This is actually a really close one. As we said, even if you lowball or highball both of them, there's still really the same result. Endeavour would be faster than Ozai and would definitely be able to deal significant damage to him. But that being said, Ozai would be able to take most, if not all, of these attacks. And, well, yeah, he wouldn't really be able to damage Endeavour that much either. He would, be able to tank most of Endeavour's at least. And giving his lightning manipulation, he could deal some serious damage to Endeavour and could probably play into Endeavour's weakness of, overheating. But that being said, Ozai's max, attack potency compared to even Endeavour's lowest durability and like, you know, Ozai's not really going to be able to do much at all. You know, the distance between town level to mountain level is much different compared to large country level to continental. So overall, while this would be a pretty long and prolonged fight, and Ozai could definitely win if he, you know, leans into the weakness that Endeavour has, Endeavour realistically would just be able to, you know, outpace him and eventually whittle Ozai down through like brute force. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe. You know, I apologize again, that isn't really clear, but you know, what can you really do with the types of scaling that's here? So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.